Hello, my name is Ijeoma Uche-Okeke, and I'm the current director of Asele Institute located in Nimo in Anambra State in Nigeria. Asele Institute was founded in 1958 by late master artist and scholar Professor Uche-Okeke. Asele is a mythical Uli artist who was renowned for her immeasurable talent as a designer in the land of the living and the dead. The essence of the institute is therefore embedded in feminine power. Asele Institute, the brainchild of Uche-Okeke, developed from being an engine room where Uche-Okeke's ideas and creations were formulated and brought into existence, transitioning into a documentation, design, and research center with a library, an art collection, and an archive of rare and very important materials on the development of Nigerian, African, and global modern and contemporary art cultures. Our internal policy with regards to promoting gender equality has always been based on consciously ensuring that there is fair and equal participation and representation of women in our projects and programming. As the name of the Institute depicts, the role of women and the important contributions they make to our local and national communities in various sectors, particularly in the creative sectors, cannot be overlooked. Art is a powerful tool that can be utilized in many ways. It gives a voice to the voiceless and vulnerable. It is the conscience of society. Creativity in its various forms remains one of the easily accessible avenues to creating employment for many women in remote locations across the globe. Thousands of women produce local crafts and are employed by local and international tourism brands to supply their crafts for consumption by local and international tourists. This links the rights of these women to make a dignified living for themselves and for their families. There is still a lot of work to be done with respect to the emancipation of women in Africa and the gross abuse of human rights, particularly the rights of women and children. Nigeria is a country that is very complex. Our society is predominantly patriarchal and comes with a set of complex societal norms and traditions alongside the pressures that are inherent in a society that is also contemporary. With a new generation of youth that have been exposed to Western cultures, there is therefore hybridization of the old and the new, the traditional and contemporary. Asele Institute is located in the fast-growing town of Nimo, a peri-urban community caught between a rural community with some urban characteristics. The women living in Nimo are a mix of rural women, previously city-dwelling women, who have moved back to the village with their retired husbands, and women from other parts of Nigeria who have been transferred to work in Anambra State. One of the indicators of the change we are experiencing now is that you can more easily find women who can work as administrative assistants, for example, which was not the case when my father first moved back to Nimo to start Asele Institute. It was quite difficult to find staff. Nigerian women in the urban areas have made more strides in a number of sectors, although in terms of numbers and statistics, these gains are not that significant. In the rural areas, the progress has been not so much as good. I would say there are several barriers that limit Nigerian women from accessing opportunities. Key among them is being economically empowered. That is generally linked to a lack of access to a basic education, as the male child is favored over the female in circumstances where families have very little resources. The female child is more often than not pressured into marriage as a way of assisting her parents and younger siblings financially. Lack of national security, access to health care, particularly services provided by the state that should be accessible to the masses, and financial services are some of the key drivers of Nigeria's gender inequality. Nigerian women are particularly vulnerable under the current situation where there is little or no security of lives or property. I believe we can also add religion and cultural traditional beliefs to the list. Our traditional norms and cultures are very male-centered and our society is patriarchal. These are all factors that contribute to the very slow pace with regards to policies that address gender inequality in all public and societal structures in Nigeria. In comparison to peer countries at similar levels of development, the gender gap in Nigeria is relatively high. The national average of women's political participation in the country has remained at 6.7% in elective and appointive offices, certainly below the global average of 22.5%, the African regional figure of 23.4%, and the West African sub-regional figure of 15%. That percentage is highly problematic, in my view, because if women are not significantly represented in the political arena, then they cannot wield any power to effect the change that is needed to close the gender gap. While there are many women in the workforce in Nigeria, most of them work in the informal sector. In the formal sectors, both public and private, there are not that many women in key positions. A specific analysis conducted in 2018 by Ms. Monique Newak, an economist in the IMF's Africa desk, showed that if Nigeria reduced gender inequality both in the labor market and in principal representation in education, in legal rights, and also by improving health outcomes for women, the economy could grow on average by as much as 1.25 percentage points more. I believe that these are the areas where the Nigerian government should be focusing its attention over the next 10 years. In my opinion, a women's house should be multifunctional and specifically represent for the women in the community it will be built in a space of safety, respect, inclusion, empowerment, self-development, self-actualization, community, mobilization, resource generation, and encouragement. If possible, within the building, women should be able to access opportunities that will enable self-empowerment through education, skills, acquisition, that will support economic sustainability, also provide healthcare and personal well-being. In this space, women should be taught to think independently and creatively, and be enabled to be proactive in finding solutions to the many challenges that they face. We're very proud as Asele Institute and the Professor Uche-Okeke Legacy Limited to be part of the Kaira Looro Competition 2021 with the theme Women's House. We're really honored to be part of this initiative and to partner with the Balouo Salo non-profit organization as media partners. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.